This Mother's Day, I wanted your gift to celebrate all the ways you inspire me. I'm in awe of your bold style and your endless dedication to your passions. You have a heart of gold and never forget a birthday. This gift is to thank you for being you.
99% of creators, views alone won't pay your bills. In today's economy, the YouTube game has fundamentally changed. While millions chase viral moments and subscriber counts, most will never turn those vanity metrics into actual income. The algorithm shifts, ad rates fluctuate, and suddenly that video with hundreds of thousands of views barely covers your coffee budget. I've personally worked with creators who hit millions of views but can't afford to pay their rent, and other creators that are making 6 and 7 figures a year with modest view counts. What's the difference? These high-earning creators understand the YouTube business bridge. And in today's episode of the Think Media Podcast, I'm going to be sharing the 3-part framework for how to actually make big money on YouTube, even if you have a small view count. You'll learn why a lot of top creators actually don't chase viral fame and what they focus on instead. Plus, how to position your channel for sustainable success, even when your view count is down. Let's get started. So let's dive into session number 1. We have such cool stuff coming up. There's going to be a lot of business breakthroughs, a lot of opportunity for Q&A, breaking things down on the whiteboard, but there's going to be some foundational sessions. And I do want to kick it off with our first session that'll kind of tie a theme of our whole 1.5 days together and talk about the YouTube business bridge, the strategic path to impact and profit. And, if you've been a part of our program, VRA and VRA Accelerator, then you'll be familiar with our system. I know we have some new people. Thank you for just jumping into the event. And, one of our favorite quotes is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And we're going to be talking about our 7-step system all event, always going back to the 7R system. And today, though, specifically, we're going to be talking about a specific framework for this room. And it's the YouTube Bridge Framework, Views, Leads, and Sales. We're going to identify your biggest opportunities, fix your weakest links, and then map your next 5 to 10 priority actions. So in this session, that's what we're going to want to do. And then after a session like this, you'll be maybe taking some notes, making some notes. There'll be some discussion and a chance to really process. And what we're asking ourselves kind of all event is, hey, what do I need to fix next? Not just what is all the things to do. There's so much opportunity on YouTube, shorts, all these different things. But what is the next most strategic move for me and my business? But as we dive into, this session, I think about there is so much opportunity on YouTube right now, but there's also some specific challenges and specific challenges in online business in general and social media in general. If we did this survey a while back, and we asked people what's happening on your channel. 26% of people were saying my views were down, some 17% saying my views were up, 20% saying about the same, and then some people haven't started. And so we are seeing a few challenges happening. There is organic reach decline. We're going to be able to overcome every single one of these challenges, but it's true. Sometimes YouTube isn't there's more competition. Views are more distributed across channels. Economic challenges, content overload. Figuring out how to stand out is more important than ever before because there's more stuff to watch than ever before, more creators than ever before. Engagement shifts where people's attention is. Technology shifts, AI coming in, and all these different things. And so Gary Vaynerchuk at our last summit actually said that the current landscape of social media requires more rigor. And over the next couple days, we're going to get really geeky. Like, what does rigor mean? It means like more attention to detail on titles and thumbnails, more attention to detail in our scripting, more thoughtful about our strategy, more work being put into things. Can we overcome challenges? We absolutely can. But it's like it used to work if you played just checkers on YouTube. Now we got to be playing chess, more strategy, more thoughtful about what are our next moves, what is our sequencing going to be. And so the biggest mistake 99% of people make on YouTube that I see when it comes to the fact that the algorithm can be up and down and views can be up and down is actually chasing views. Now, I know that all of us are here for views. Like, how do we get the most views? How do we go viral? How do we do those things? But I think that if we are fixed on views only, we're always gonna have a roller coaster life on YouTube, or that ultimately we can stay stuck on YouTube. What I've learned and what we're gonna be talking about over these days is that clients are better than clicks. Like, at the end of the day, getting views or getting someone even to click on a link, it's one thing, but actually getting a client, like somebody joining your business, your offer, your program. And you might say, Sean, I don't have any of that yet. But more than clicks, I want to get clients. Like, let's get real business happening. In fact, if I don't get a lot of views, but I get a client, then I'm going to be way happier with a client than with views. Quality is better than crowds. There is a temptation to want to get the biggest numbers possible. I was talking with one of our mastermind attendees right before the session, and he made a pivot in his content from something that was a little bit more broad appeal that got a lot of views. And it's natural that the views would go down if you get something that's gonna attract a different audience. But the question is, do we wanna reach the crowds, or do we want a quality community, quality customers, quality group that we're building? Like, what ultimately are we building? Customers are greater than clout. Now, again, these maybe aren't everybody's philosophy, but this would be the philosophy we want to lay as a foundation. Do we just want kind of a following? One of my favorite quotes is, leaders create other leaders. They don't create more followers. Like, what's our goal? I mean, do we just want to reach the masses? Well, then at least we know our strategy. Or do we want to reach customers or a deep community? In fact, faithful fans are greater than fleeting fame. If you made it in the room, you're familiar with the 1,000 true fans concept. You get a real ride or die group of people that are following you, not just subscribers, but people that really love you, want to do business with you. You get the right people in a small community following you. Seth Godin talks about this concept of what is the smallest viable audience for your business. It's worth thinking about. Like, what's actually the minimum number of customers for the offer I would create that would give me a business that's sustainable, so that from there I could build whatever I feel called to build next. Because everyone's chasing the fame or the clout or the crowds or the clicks, when if we have some ride or dies and quality and customers and faithful fans. And so to do this, we're going to be working through a framework called the YouTube Bridge Framework. And where we can sometimes find ourselves is alone on an island without clothing, like Castaway, Tom Hanks, you know, of like, man, no subscribers, or like, you know, trying to get views, trying to make things work. And we're going to be going through a process of how to get to not just ultimately YouTube growth, but money for the mission. Like, a sustainable business is why we're in this room. Yes, we'll talk about views, and you know we are always coming from a purpose-driven place, but at the end of the day, your purpose is gonna die out real quick if you don't have the finances to fund it. And so what we would call this would be the YouTube Bridge Framework. And what I like to think about here is, again, where are you right now? And think about that for yourself personally. Where are you in your business? Where's your channel? What's just the current state of things? Good leadership I heard from, I think Jim Rohn talked about, or actually be a Napoleon Hill thing. It says, you know, success starts with accurate thinking and an assessment of like, really, where are you? Where are you right now? What's the situation in your business? Where are you right now? And then, you know, where do you want to go? That's what do you need? If you could get from here to here, what's the amount of monthly revenue that you need in your business? And you could go full time. I had a few conversations with individuals here at the Mastermind. I'm working full time right now. I want to be able to live this online dream, build my online business and do it full time. Well, how much is that going to cost? And then what's the impact that you want to make? Where are you and where do you want to go? Well, the 3 steps that are in the YouTube framework are this. Number 1, views. So over the next couple days, we're gonna be talking about, okay, how do we get views on YouTube and how do we get the right views? In online marketing, you call this traffic. Like if nobody knows you, the next step's not gonna help. And we're gonna talk about a lot of different stuff, but of course it comes back and we'll have sessions on like how do we get more views on our channel? You know, even subscribers, I know we want subscribers, but like you might even notice, Think Media is over 3 million subscribers now. Older channels that have gotten subscribers over many, many years, people have subscribed to your channel, but they don't even log into YouTube anymore. So subscribers are great, but you actually need present views right now from the right people. So we're gonna need views. The next thing we're gonna need, if we're gonna complete the bridge across from where you are to where you wanna go, is gonna be leads. Leads. We have to translate people from watching our content to building our owned audience. Is anybody here building an email list? Raise your hand. So 20% of the room, you're thinking about this. You're building a newsletter, you're building an email list. Now, sometimes that is the overemphasized way of doing it, and I think that's what we should be doing. I think it's email marketing, and email is so important. But when I say leads, it might be that you're getting phone numbers, it might be that you're building a Facebook group, it might be that you're building a Discord. The bottom line is that algorithms can be fickle and we need to be able to build our audience off platform, which then the next thing we need to generate would be sales. That we translate in this whole process, how are you going from YouTube into a sales process to some sort of offer that you have? Now, there might be some open questions we have, like, well, I don't have an offer yet, or I don't even know if that's right for my business. Well, there's all kinds of business models on YouTube, brand deals, ad revenue, affiliates, and we could touch on all of those. But it would be my deep conviction that we need to, at some point, create our own offer and productize in some way that we would have a sustainable business so that we can weather any storm on YouTube. We want to be unbreakable. I think we could be recession proof. And in doing so, we're going to need views, leads, and sales to do so. But here's where the challenge comes with the YouTube Bridge framework and what I've learned personally in my life. And really, that's probably been the mistake I've made over and over and over again. Is when I find myself on this island over here, I'm dreaming big. You know, I'm kind of unhappy because I'm not where I want to be yet. But I've got big dreams. I got big ideas. Want to do this over here. And, I'm thinking about my YouTube channel. When I find myself on this island, I find that the biggest thing that can happen for me is getting distracted and starting to chase shiny objects. And so who here has a lead magnet or something like that? You have an idea for building it. That'd be like a free ebook or a checklist or something like that, but it's not done. Anybody? You got a couple that are not done. So what's your lead magnet?
Just an ebook.
You're gonna do an ebook.
Yeah, I want to do.
You want to do an ebook? Have you started it?
Framework.
You started kind of a framework. So what happened? Okay, so I can relate to that, and I've done the same thing. I think back when I started getting a vision for doing YouTube. For me, I was mainly focused on YouTube and views, which is where a lot of people focus. It's a great place to be, right? We all want the views. And we might know we need these other things, and you mentioned ebook, and so we might start building. You kind of build a little bridge here, and but it's not done, so it's kind of just out there. And we got an ebook, which would be our lead thing. Okay, how about who here is building out an offer of some kind? You're building an online course. Raise your hand. It's not done. Keep your hand raised. Awesome. And of course, we're going to be in process, so I'm not trying to shame anybody. We're all in the same boat here, right? But it's like, okay, so then we also have like this over here, but it's kind of, is your online course, does it look like this? There's like missing pieces of concrete. It's really sketchy, and it's just out there. So okay, you got your course. Who here is trying to grow multiple social media platforms at once? Raise your hand. You're trying to grow multiple social media platforms, not just YouTube. All right, yeah. So some of us, then we're trying to get views, but it's not just YouTube views, right? But we got, you see somebody on Instagram, you're like, man, Instagram would be a great place to get leads, and it is. But we start trying to do Instagram, and so we got that going. What else would you say, different things maybe you've been working on? Anybody have shiny object syndrome? Stuff that's like kind of half-done projects? Yeah, you raise your hand. What, is there anything that you've been working on? Maybe you're doing a couple different things. You're working on your website, YouTube channel, lead magnet, course. Yes, she says, yes, okay. So are you seeing what I'm talking about here? So now we're kind of trying to build a website, which is also, that kind of be like a place to capture our views or our leads and our sales. We got our website. Is anybody seeing the problem? And can anybody relate? We've got like this idea of, okay, I'm here, and I want to get to this goal of having like not just some income, but sustainable income. I want to get over here, but I'm trying to do all these different bridges, and none of them are complete. And the really sad part about it is that sometimes it's like you start doing Instagram for a while, or even you do YouTube for a while, right? And so people start coming into your world and they're pumped. They're driving, they're like on this destination with you. But what's about to happen? Yeah. People are drowning. You're like, wow, that got dark. Like, jeez. So, and even on YouTube though, because who here, you do have a lead magnet, you have like a landing page set up, but you would be honest and you're willing to raise your hand and say, Sean, when I think about it, I know that it sucks. It's really bad. Raise my. Yeah, your landing page sucks. You could write that, right? Okay, exactly. So you got the views, but they get here, and then sure enough, maybe a few people make it through, but couple hundred, couple thousand views. But how many deaths on that journey? And if you've got the leads and they make it through your landing page and they download your thing, how many people got stuck in junk mail? How many people got stuck in spam? How many people didn't even find the thing? All right, they make it to your offer, like your checkout page, the experience with purchasing your offer. If they even really, is your offer really dialed in? Is it really irresistible and aligned to your audience? Is it actually aligned with one YouTube bridge, or is it is it such a perilous, snaky ride through here that like the amount of people, you could have 1,000 start here, you could have 1 million start here, but the amount of people that make it here, there's only a few stragglers. There's so much dangers and peril on the bridge that their cars all beat up by the time they make there, right? Because our thing's kind of broken, our checkout process isn't working. So our goal here at this particular 1.5 days is to work on this entire process. And then for your business to think about getting, honestly, one bridge built. And here's what I've learned, that even if you've got one right now, and that would be that who here, full participation, you're creating content, you have a way to capture leads and bring them into a sales process, and your sales process is actually working, and like the Stripe money is coming through or PayPal money is coming through, raise your hand, the whole process does work. Awesome. So by the way, look around with some of the people you're meeting here as well, because iron sharpens iron. Like, what do you use? What's your software? How does this stuff work? Because once you get this thing duct taped together for the first time ever, that's a huge feat. But what I've also learned is that even once it's put together, sometimes the temptation is to move on to something else when ultimately going back and improving it, maybe reinforce the structure to handle more traffic, more people. How can I improve that part of the process? And oftentimes, what we think is the broken thing, I just need more subscribers, I need more views, I need a bigger channel, may not actually be our biggest issue. It's these other pieces of the bridge that often are the struggle point. Are you a business owner or serious content creator that is struggling to crack the YouTube code? Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated with slow growth? If so, then our new one-on-one coaching program at viralvideocoach.com is your premier ticket to YouTube success. Becoming the authority in your niche, attracting engaged leads and loyal customers. We offer one-to-one coaching with our YouTube experts that'll help you get results fast and a supportive community that's cheering you on. So if you're ready to stop wasting time with trial and error and to stop leaving money on the table, then head to viralvideocoach.com to apply to see if you qualify for our coaching program. But heads up, this offer is not for everybody. It's only for serious content creators and entrepreneurs that are ready to take action. So if that's you, head to viralvideocoach.com to apply or click the link in the show notes. All right, let's jump back into the episode. And so here's a couple of steps as we break this down to of what we just talked about and what we're reviewing. Step one is get the right views. Get the right views. If we think about it, someone's over here on, or we're here trying to get over to prosperity in our business and impact in our business, and we start getting a lot of views, and people make it onto the bridge across to the other island, only to realize that they're on the wrong bridge. Man, you can't turn around until you get to the other side, like, oh, I'm distracted. You ever done, I've done that. I just think about, I missed that turn, when you miss that critical turn, and now it's 20, 25 minutes. And so just getting views is what everybody's obsessed with, but we want to get the right views. And that's why when we start with our 7R framework, it's always reverse engineer first. It's start with the end in mind of who would be the right audience to attract for this whole bridge to work together. So here's a cool AI trick for getting the right views. Number one, who is your client? Number two, what are their problems and desires? And then what we want to do is just run that into AI to think about who could we attract, what content would we create to get the right views? Okay, so one volunteer. Yeah. Shout your name out. Joe. And your channel? The Married Life. And are you doing the leads and sales thing yet?
Yeah.
What is the offer, Joe?
I'm doing, for views, we have 4 different free PDFs they can get. We have a free sex conversation starter, date night questions, 52 date night.
Did you say sex? Okay. I have to write that on the board? Okay, so you got 4 PDFs, sex. What else?
Date night questions.
What kind of channel is this? No, just kidding. Date night, okay.
52 date night ideas.
Okay.
And then 3 T's of communication.
Okay, so we got 3 T's of comms, 52 date night ideas. Which one's the best one?
Sex.
Yeah, by far. All right. Think Media Mastermind just got 0 to 100 real quick. Okay, so, and they all work? People download them?
Yeah.
And then where's it go?
So we use that for Kit, and so we get all the leads in the Kit, and from there we obviously gather their data to be able to email them and let them know about future events or products.
And what is the offer?
What do you mean?
What is the sales?
So that's where we are not at that yet. We have a course, but we haven't put it out on Samcar or Circle yet.
Okay, so you've got the views and you've got the leads, but then just a bunch of people are drowning and just carnage everywhere.
Yeah.
their sex lives are terrible. Well, and their marriages are, like, people are being harmed right now. I mean, I'm sort of shaming you, but it's like, right, if we actually think about the impact and the difference we're making, I think there's something about feeling, of course you do, that's why you're here, but like the ethical responsibility of completing your bridge. Because it's like, how long have people been able to download your free stuff and get on your newsletter? How long have you been building that?
Like 4 months now.
4 months? How often do you email people?
Weekly.
Okay, so you've been nurturing people.
Yeah.
So they're getting help. Okay.
So weekly we send out our YouTube video that goes out. So we send out 2 videos a week, and then I also take that, put it in AI, and make it into a blog. So it's like bullet point.
Great. Who here is building your email list? Raise your hand. But you're not emailing them, and you haven't emailed them in a long time. Keep your hand up. Yeah, look at us, right? This is my, and I am you. Like this has been what I'm in. I'm like, I know I need to build an email list. I'm building it. How many people on your list? 754. When's the last time you emailed them? I don't know. Haven't. Just cars, just everywhere, right? It's like you have the leads, but there's no guardrails, people driving off. Okay, so this is great. And building out the pieces of the bridge, this idea of getting the right views, let's just dive in here real quick to AI along with, and we'll be doing this throughout. Who here is using AI already to start brainstorming and stuff? We're going to be doing prompts the whole time. I think AI has changed the game for video creation. I'm using Claude here. We'll be using ChatGPT, Gemini. I like Claude. And we're going to be talking about getting the right views for we need to have one other question. What will the offer be? What's the course?
It's called the Blueprints of Marriage. And so it's like taking people on kind of like 10 steps that every marriage is going to like struggle with and deal with, whether it is communication, whether it's sex, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's finances, all those different areas.
How much?
I don't know yet.
And then target audience.
Our target audience is age 25 to 50, and they're obviously married. Christian couples, because it's Christian-based content.
And then what else is probably true about them that's unique to you from like a psychographic standpoint?
They want to strengthen their marriage. It's not necessarily people that are on the brink of divorce, but they're learned, like kind of like this. I want to get better, I just don't know what to do. And so people that are actually wanting to develop themselves.
Okay. So, great. All right, so we're trying to get the right views, and all of these questions are really powerful to feed into AI for coming up with video topics and ideas. So let's go for it. Hey, Claude. So I want to come up with a list of video ideas and topics. I have a channel that is targeting really 25 to 50-year-olds. They're married Christian couples. They're not necessarily on the brink of divorce, but they want to strengthen their marriage. They might be having some relationship issues. And ultimately, I want a lot of good topic ideas, but eventually I'm going to offer a free gift, which will help people with their sex life in marriage. And eventually I'm going to offer a Blueprints of Marriage course. So I want to attract serious couples. And I'm looking for some 10 topics that would be broad appeal on YouTube to attract this group. All right, so we're going to start with get the right views, which is going to start with topics, and then we'll dial into title, and we'll go a little bit deeper in session 2. Communication secrets that transformed our marriage. Finding time for connection when life gets busy. Let me know which one of these you like the most. And I know you're already creating content, so you've probably created a lot of these. Faith-centered marriage, resolving conflict without damaging a relationship, rekindling romance after years together, resolving conflict without damaging your relationship. Yeah. Why? Resonates because you could talk about it? You think that's what they need?
So many people struggle with conflict.
Okay. All right, so can you come up with 10 title ideas for number 4? I want to do resolving conflict, and I want the title to be SEO based, but also to be highly clickable, as broad as appeal as possible. But I do want to, again, attract the specific audience I want to reach as described in the previous prompt. All right, 5 conflict resolution techniques that saved our marriage. Stop fighting, start talking, a biblical approach to marriage conflicts. Let me know which one you like best. How to resolve any marriage argument in 15 minutes. That's pretty cool. That one's really good. All right, we could stop there. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Any insights on that process? Is that kind of how you've been using AI, or is that kind of a...
Yes and no. I got to get better using it for coming up with the titles. But I have, like, again, just to your point, used AI, like, hey, what are the top 10 things or 15 things that married couples struggle with? I want to break this down into, these conversations. But what we've seen, and, Alex has done such great coaching us on this, even when I get ideas or Chrissy gets ideas or AI gives us ideas, the views that we get the most always have to do with sex.
Yeah.
Like, and you said that, sex sells. So it's like people want that. Because we'll put out stuff that I think is really strong for 15 minutes, how to like dissolve, yeah, what is that answer? Where some people are like, I want to have better sex,
Yep.
Or I want her to engage in sex. I don't want to always be the one. And so, like, because we've had that conversation where she's like, I feel like we talk about sex too much. And
On our mind.
but Alex is great because he's like, but if this is what's getting the momentum for growth, you can still add in the other things, but maybe you are known more for that one.
Sure.
Topic.
Well, and absolutely. And again, the big key here as we keep going is all of us in this room, we need to know our ideal client. And did you hear like their level of knowledge of their ideal client? Very good. There's greater depths that we can always go to. And what's cool about AI is the better information we feed into it, the better unique insights that we could get to find fresh perspectives and angles on what videos we could create. So that's going to be foundational, because if we're going to get the right views, and I know I'm just kind of verbally saying this, some of us are familiar with the 7R framework, but the first 2 R's in our 7R framework are reverse engineer, who's our ideal client, what are their problems and desires, and then research, getting fierce clarity, because again, if this is right, but these are wrong, or we get a lot of people here, then it breaks down. But then also, right, as we go further, if there's no ultimate sales, you might say, oh, man, we'd love to be making more money right now from our YouTube channel. Well, I'd probably point out one of the biggest problems would be a lack of an actual offer, because if you just complete that bridge, we're going to make it all the way across. I saw the hand.
I have a question about your opinion. So if he uses a title like that and at the end says to have better sex,
Yeah.
at what point does that become too redundant, using the same finish line? What's your opinion?
Yeah, so the question was, if he uses a title like the one that we used here and then just adds to have better sex at the end, I think that would be unnecessary. That would be fluff, in my opinion. You just have the chance, like, I think a mindset shift would be get comfortable with creating videos, create a lot of videos, and commit, and have endless content ideas and always be ranking them by the next one you should make. But we teach in VRA, like, one keyword phrase, one topic idea, one video. So don't try to force things together. Sometimes you might be like, oh, I kind of want to say 3 things in this video. Let me try to force it all in the title. Make 3 videos. Does that make sense? So if it's about sex, I'd go all in on that, but I wouldn't just try to, if you could spice it up and it's true, but it is interesting to say how to resolve any marriage argument in 15 minutes, a Christian perspective. Now, it would be, potentially, it would be much broader appeal to not say a Christian perspective. This is an interesting point, because you might get more views, and that wouldn't be a bad thing, but if you know that eventually you're going to be selling a course to Christians, calling out your audience is a good thing. But it's discipline to actually sort of be saying, I'm going to get less views. If you're telling the algorithm who to show this to, and thus clarity of the YouTube Bridge framework is critical. You may be realizing I'm not chasing virality, I'm chasing the right views as principle number one. Okay, so step two, get leads from your videos. So one of the commitments I want all of us to make is to create your first lead magnet. What's a lead magnet? There's terms for it, freebies, giveaways. It is essentially free premium value, and it should be that. You should give away free valuable content on YouTube. That's what YouTube is. And then you should give even more valuable free content off of YouTube. Now on screen is a list of possible lead magnet ideas. And this could be an ebook, a checklist, a white paper, a webinar, like a free web class. Chances are you've watched one of my web classes. A challenge is technically a lead magnet. 5 days, it's a lot of work. A calculator could be a lead magnet. It's anything you're giving in exchange for somebody's information. But the challenge that so number one, I want you to create your first lead magnet. And while here, by the end of this event, identify what would be the best lead magnet for the bridge I'm trying to create. My second challenge to you is that if you already have one, I want you to assess if it's good or if it needs to be fixed. We're constantly asking ourselves, what do I need to fix next in my business? Does it need to be fixed or improved? My next challenge to you is if you have 4 or 13, like a lot of us might have, which should be eliminated or ignored. It's not a badge of honor to be like, I've got so much stuff going on. In some cases, it might be identifying what you should say no to. One of the things early on is I just kept adding, and this was my bridge problem. I'm working on writing an ebook that I want to give away free, and I'm working on a free mini course and a free 4 video series that I'm working on. And I've put out a lot of mediocre efforts and incomplete bridges, but I haven't completed something and done it at a world-class level. So even with your coach and over the next day and a half, we could be pulling up landing pages, looking at them, having somebody here go through it. Hey, yeah, let me try it. Hey, can you try to go through my process? They enter their name and email and nothing happens. I used to work at a place called Red Robin. It's a burger joint. They have free bottomless fries. And things would happen. One of our greatest fears as a server and as a waiter of tables is that one day we might get secret shopped. And then we'd be talking to other servers. They'd be like, do you think that's a secret shop, or do you think they're asking you questions or seeing, did you offer them a refill? Did you offer them any upsells, dessert, all this stuff? Did you hit it all? So the powerful thing with secret shopping, though, is when was the last time you secret shopped yourself? And so our own bridges is like, I kind of got my landing page set up and, doesn't really work on mobile. And how's the email deliverability? Is there certain words in your emails that trigger things? Like, we're here to coach you through this whole thing, but what I have found is that getting this whole bridge complete, working, and then considering this, that maybe it's time for expansion. There's so much traffic that's trying to get to the island. Let's add 2 more lanes. Let's do a construction project. Yet the temptation could be to try to build the next bridge instead of improving the one that we're on. And so we want to get leads from our videos and figure out where are we sending people. And again, we got some real estate agents in the room. If that means like, hey, shoot me a text. I just spoke for the CEO Summit at Keller Williams this past Monday. And in my opinion, as a real estate agent, what would I want most? I think I just want the person to text me, because that's where the business is happening. Get their email, cool, that's fine. But I want them, I want to text me right now and let's start talking. We engage in text. Maybe DM, but here's a good question. What is the least friction path to make it through your bridge? There's sometimes things that we do that we didn't even realize. We're like, I just don't know why there's sales, why we aren't getting sales. And there's like a blockade, right? There's like literally blocks that have been set up because we've created friction of some kind. That it's like enter your email and go to the page, but the page is broken, which is, again, we try to fix those things. But like, how can I just make this as streamlined and as smooth as possible? Which brings us to step 3, which would be generate sales. Now, over the next couple of days, when you do affiliate marketing, you don't even need leads. If you can get really good at views with good calls to action and integration, it goes straight to sales. You can just compress the process. Problem with like affiliate marketing though, which has been a big piece of my story, is on Amazon, I get like 4%. When I created my own offer, especially a digital product, I get like 97%. It's better. I mean, I wasn't good at math, but like 97 is better than 4. And so what is your irresistible offer? And how does your sales process work? What is your irresistible offer, and how does your sales process work? And this is a challenging one, because just because we actually have the bridge completed, sometimes it's good to evaluate and actually say, does this need a total renovation? Does this just need some paint and some touch up, or does this need a total renovation? What part is actually maybe broken in this process? And so when we say, what do I need to fix next? It's like, maybe I actually need to fix who's my target audience, what's my vision, what am I actually building here? Maybe I need to really master the getting of views. But again, if I'm getting a lot of views, I don't know where they're going. Maybe I am getting people really interested in my lead magnet and wanting to improve their romantic life. And okay, so let me really dial in this offer. And what would be the best name? And what are people wanting? And could I send, how many people on the email list? Approximately.
Actually, 300.
300. Two ideas I would do. Number one, have you surveyed them? So could I, when I'm at the lead stage, survey and ask to get data about the exact things, problems they have in their marriage, things they would want, areas they want help, and the style they would want help in. Have AI be like, hey, I want to survey my 300 people. This is who they are. I want to create a course. What questions could I ask? I don't want it to be very long. Let's do it. And survey so that this will be a way to fix and improve or build for the first time. So I want to send a survey to my 300 people that are on my email list. They've downloaded our how to improve your sex life and marriage and their romantic life, date night ideas, things like that. But eventually I want to sell an online course. It may be called Blueprints of Marriage, but I'm not committed to that name because I want the best name possible. Now, again, my audience is 25 to 50-year-old married Christians, and I've got the 300 on the list. Can you just lay out a quick survey that I could send them? And I don't want it to be overwhelming, so it's not completed. So can you just, based on data, give me the best length of questions that I actually get the highest response rate, that would give me the insights that would help me produce the best digital product possible and give me language that I could use in marketing?
It's ballpark season.
Push that. Pull that. Work that. Push that. Work out. You need help? Someone wants me to kill my date.
Shot of tequila never kill anybody, right? Drop.
24/7 live chat? Ask any how to, why do, or what if with Chewy.
And with tools like Typeform, you can get this up and running in like 10 minutes and email your people before lunch. And this would be multiple choice. What's your biggest challenge in marriage right now? Select two. Communication issues. This data is going to be powerful for all kinds of stuff. And then if you could improve one aspect of your marriage immediately, what would it be? Which format would you prefer for marriage improvement content? Video lessons, audio, interactive modules, text-based, live group coaching. What would make you most likely to invest in a marriage course? Which of these potential course names appeals to you? A couple different names. What price range would you consider reasonable for a comprehensive marriage course? Any other thoughts on what would make this course valuable to you? 7 questions only. Sweet spot. Typically yield 83 to 89% completion rates. Mix and multiple choice. Tells you exactly how to do it. Type that in. You could send that and tell us the results tomorrow at the mastermind. Powerful? Here's the second thing I would do. I would do a free Zoom call with anybody that wants to show up. When I was creating VRA, one of the first things I did pre-creating an offer was I developed a framework. The 7R framework wasn't pretty yet. It didn't, it was on paper. It wasn't even visual yet, but I wanted to test it with people. And so what I did was I DM'd people one by one and actually asked if I could do free coaching with them. Would you be willing to take your time to do free coaching with me? I know you want to do YouTube to see if my stuff works. In exchange, if it works and you're willing, for a video testimonial before I even started. So if you got on Zoom, built some relationships, you're starting to create a beta group immediately. But if you also record those calls, the way they say things, the words they use could all be put into your marketing. Pretty powerful. And so what is your irresistible offer? Some of what we just talked about there is how we could be workshopping our irresistible offer. Or you might be thinking right now, like, I do have an offer, but I don't know if it's that irresistible. I mean, again, like, it's like a wooden, bridge from an Indiana Jones movie from the Leeds over to the island. Like, I don't know if anyone's even gonna make it across that thing compared to what it could be by improving the offer, refining the offer, thinking about what it is, dialing in price, things to tweak, and then how does your sales process work? And then how fluid is that entire experience? And so this is the YouTube Bridge framework. And there is really trying to make it as simple as possible, but I think you see that it's really just 3 things. It's views, leads, and sales. And my challenge to you is to get one bridge, one working, and to go back to that bridge and get it improved before expanding, because I think there's a lot of power in that. As we get ready to transition, I'm reminded of the story of Steve Jobs when he came back to Apple in 1997. And by this time, with his absence, they had gotten to a place where they just had added like hundreds of different product lines. And so the company had become really complex and all these different things that were happening. And he was famous. He came in for slashing it down to like 4 products, just cutting everywhere. And it really made me think of the YouTube Bridge framework. Like, obviously at that time, Apple was already generating millions. They had a big business, but I have fallen into the same trap at the beginning of my business, in the middle, and I still fall into the same trap today. Like all the way back in 2014, my wife and I were living in Irvine, California, in an apartment right by Irvine Spectrum. And I was a campus pastor at a church at the time, but I wanted to start building out side income. One reason was because my salary at the church was about $72,000, and because I opted out of Social Security and got a housing allowance as a pastor clergy, they said it was an equivalent of 80, whatever that means. And so Cost of living to live comfortably in Irvine, California is about 125, they say, is what's needed to live there. So my motivation for side hustle was just to like keep us at like a water level and try to rise beyond that for our finances. And so at this time, I'm making YouTube videos, and I had money coming in from affiliate marketing. I had money coming in from ad revenue, but it's like 50 and 100, and I do some freelance projects, and I love that stuff. Like, I know that if you made it in this room, you're an ambitious, you've probably done a lot of things, different side hustles, you've done all that kind of stuff. It's all helpful because it's learning, but it's random, right? And what I did not have is I did not have the views lead sales thing. Well, from the power of investing in mentorship, which you already know is the most powerful thing you can invest in. And at this time, I discovered someone named Chalene Johnson, and she started talking about even the power of building an email list. And I was like, maybe I should do that. So I remember I was like, I need a lead magnet. And I had written one random chapter for my friend Phil Cook for his book about social media. So at least it was fast. I was like, well, I already wrote something, and there was no AI in these days, right? So I like saved it as a PDF and like put it up on a page, but it was terrible. Like it was so bad. I mean, it had like nothing. And so I was making some videos, and I was kind of sending it to that lead magnet. I did another thing called YouTube for Churches. It's actually a good idea, but put out some videos, but it didn't really go anywhere. I remember I did give away a free video series. And maybe it actually did go somewhere. I wrote an ebook, and the ebook was $7. And so by sending people to that, it was good. It was an offer, but it wasn't an offer at a scale big enough to generate any kind of revenue, or I didn't have the next thing. And so I remember I was trying to run my Facebook page, and I was trying to run my YouTube channel, and I was building this YouTube for Churches thing, and I was building the Get Noticed thing, and all of that. And it made me think of Steve Jobs. That like even at the beginning, when I had no right to be doing 36 different things, like I was still chasing a lot of stuff. And so that was the campus pastor days. And then eventually though, that even once we got established, I think about, we started having some success. And we do launch Video Ranking Academy after I learned how to rank videos and generate a 6-figure income off YouTube and ranking videos and talking about tech as well as some other niche products. Start teaching what I know in a program that a lot of you have been through. And after a couple years into Video Ranking Academy, we added another program called Inner Circle. Kind of cool. In fact, it got to $25,000 a month. It was a membership program. Now, I'm a small town kid, college dropout. When I thought about making, like, if I hit 6 figures, like, it was the vision I had growing up in Arlington, Washington. And so when we had this $25,000 a month Inner Circle program, and that's how much money was coming in, what I started to realize, though, was that the bridges were hard to maintain. And it was actually a distraction, a $25,000 a month distraction. And sure enough, even though, again, depends on where your business is at, and that's the point of the interaction here, we sunsetted it, we shut it down, and I want to say we maybe done 1,000 or 2 units of VRA previous years up to that. The next year we did 5,000 units of our core offer, of our one bridge. That's over $5 million in revenue of that one offer from actually shutting down the distraction. So if you're at the midpoint in your business, you already have some things going. My challenge to you is, do you need to shut down or slow down, what it is? So here's our goal. You don't need multiple bridges or dozens of offers. What is one complete bridge from views to sales that actually works? One core offer that transforms lives. One clear path that generates sustainable revenue. And you can just screenshot this. I think we've hit it pretty hard. But 12 reasons your business isn't growing. You're building half bridges everywhere. You got views, but they're not turning into business. Your lead magnet puts people to sleep. Your sales process is a maze. You're chasing viral instead of valuable. Your offer isn't irresistible, it's invisible. You keep changing direction. You're treating YouTube like a lottery ticket. You're building without a blueprint. Your bridge collapses under pressure. You're stuck in feast or famine, or your checkout process is broken. So here's your next move. And Brian, I think you can help us into discussions or whatever. But let's journal. Let's talk about it. Identify your biggest constraint. For you, what's the missing piece? What's the choke point? What's the weakest link? And if you were, I want you to keep a running list of your next priority actions. Don't overthink it. It might change, but be thinking, because you might re-rank them. When I really think about it, the thing I need to fix next is this. So what you just listened to was a recording from one of our recent Think Media Masterminds that happens a few times each year in Las Vegas, where we get together with all of the Think Media coaches and myself to work on your YouTube channel and really your online business. And actually, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, just go to viralvideocoach.com. Those masterminds are a feature and they're a part of our Video Ranking Academy Accelerator program. And if you go to the website or click the link in the show notes, actually, you're just going to find an application there because this program isn't right for everybody. But if you're somebody who is serious about your YouTube growth and using YouTube to generate views, leads, and sales for your online business, or you're a creator and you want to figure out how to build a bigger business, you've been chasing views. You've been kind of falling into the trap of getting maybe a lot of views, but really having not a full bank account, then this program might be right for you. And all it is an application. We only work with people that we're a good fit for. So if that sounds interesting to you and you'd love to learn more about our one-on-one coaching program, just go to viralvideocoach.com or click the link in the show notes. Now, if you got value out of today's episode, it means the world if you like, rate, review, or share wherever you watch or listen. Shout out to our audio family on the Think Media podcast. And if you're on YouTube, I'd love to know any questions or feedback that you have in the comment section. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and I cannot wait to connect with you in a future episode.
You know Cheez-It made extra toasty?
Of course. Want it, need it, Cheez-It.
You are not too old to start YouTube.
Definitely a woman of a certain age. They may not want to hear what I've got to say.
What doubts did you have about starting YouTube at age 64?
Whereas there's things you have to offer, you ask yourself, well, is there anyone out there who really wants to hear it?
What are the ways you've earned money from your YouTube channel?
Sean, that one video made me $4,000.
What advice would you share with me as far as starting YouTube in my 60s and my 70s? Today, you're going to be discovering the process that a 73-year-old former nursing professor used to start and grow her YouTube channel and create multiple streams of income. Today, she has 88,000 subscribers, but she didn't start there. And so we're going to be learning the tips of how she went from zero to getting her channel monetized without any fancy tech skills, the strategy behind some of her successful videos, and why starting YouTube after 40 or 50 or 60 is actually your secret advantage. You're also going to be learning the exact mindset shifts needed to succeed on YouTube and the pitfalls that stop a lot of creators before they even start. Denise Jordan is a retired nursing instructor who built Homemaking with Denise, teaching traditional skills to today's modern families. With over 88,000 subscribers and millions of views, she's proof that it's never too late to succeed on YouTube. She started out with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, not knowing exactly what her channel was going to be about, but later discovered what truly resonated with her viewers, and that was homemaking content. And over the years, she has evolved her channel and found multiple different ways to monetize her content while she is inspiring a community of people and building her channel and her audience. So we're going to be diving into her step-by-step advice. Denise, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Sean. Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here.
So I'm excited to share your 4 quick tips in just a moment, but can you just give us an overview of when did you start and kind of the quick journey from 0 to now 88,000 subscribers on your channel?
I believe I started my channel in 2017 or 2018, somewhere around in there. And at that particular time, I was joining a bunch of collaborations and building a community of acquaintances on YouTube. So I was doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we were helping each other to grow. So that was one of the things that I quickly did to get started. And it turned out to be the right thing for me at that time.
So when you say you kind of started by, how'd you find people? You're doing collaborations, you were meeting people online?
I would find people online, or maybe someone would say, I'm going to host a collab on doing a tablescape. If you want to join, you can join here. So I found collaborations like that, and I would join them, and I would do all these different things, and my channel was absolutely crazy, but it helped me begin to build an audience, and it also helped me begin to build a skill set.
And where did you meet these individuals if people wanted to find communities like that?
I just met them online. You would see there was a collaboration. Sometimes on the community tabs, you would see them there. And as you got to know, when you would leave comments in different people's videos, they would say, going to host this collab, going to host that collab, and you're welcome to join. So you found information in comments as well.
So you were watching other creators, discovering channels, engaging in the comment section, and really being a part of the YouTube community itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to watch YouTube. You've got to watch other creators. And then the engaging was what helped me to build community and to learn what was working and what was not, and what was working for others. And I thought, if she's doing that and it's working, maybe I could try it.
And so today you're at 88,000 subscribers at 73 years old. And so you've been out at this for pretty consistently since 2018. So about 7 years.
Yes, very consistent. And when I say consistent, I would do at least a video a week. Sometimes I would do 2 videos a week. Sometimes I would participate in beta. Video every day in April, video every day in August. So it really helped me to build a community of, not a community, but a library of videos. And also it helped me practice the craft.
Where was this fire and energy coming from? That's a lot of energy. You're running circles around some of these Gen Z creators out here without any work ethic. Where did this, sometimes a video every day can sound intimidating. How'd you pull that off?
I don't know. When I look back on it, I don't know. But I think, though, when I started YouTube, I just wanted to have fun. And so this was fun for me to do that. And it just gave me something to do in my spare time. And I knew that I was going to be looking to retire soon. And I was thinking YouTube might be one of the things that I'll do in my retirement.
I love the vision. Okay, well, you have so many tips to share, and I have a lot of questions for you, but I do want to start off with kind of 4 immediate tips that someone that is maybe 60 plus, they could be any age, but they're thinking about starting a YouTube channel today, and they're 40, 50, 60 years old. You shared 4 tips before we press record. Number 1 is believe in yourself. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think you have to believe that you have something to offer, and know that there are people out there that want to hear your voice, that need to hear your message, and prepare yourself to do that.
I love that tip. And there's also something about life experience for creators that are not 20-year-old life coaches. Expound on that a little bit about maybe the importance of getting into YouTube in, legacy generation or a little bit older.
Well, the thing about doing it as a legacy creator, as you suggest, is that been there, done that. So like I always say, I'm in the homemaking space, and I always say I'm not a 35-year-old blonde doing the mommy life. Been there, done that. Didn't have blonde hair, but I did have red hair at one time. So, but I've done all those things, and now there are so many young people out there, young homemakers, who maybe did not have the benefit of that mom or grandmother in the home, or they didn't stay home long enough to learn some of those lessons, or didn't care to learn those lessons while they were at home. Now they're in a different life situation, and they're ready to learn. So I'm the teacher that's presenting myself. They're ready, I'm the teacher.
So number one, believe in yourself and be confident that what you have to share is important because you have life experience. Number two, niche down. You want to narrow down your topic. Expand on why this is important.
Well, you narrow down your topic so that you can provide the information that people want to hear. And the only way to find out what your topic is, I think, is to try a few different things. But then as you look at your comments, you look at the questions that you get, then you begin to think, so this is what they want. And I remember when I was starting out and I was doing a lot of those crazy DIY projects, I didn't get any questions or comments, many about those. But when I would do videos on something related to homemaking, something related to laundry, something related to family, I got lots of questions about that. And I realized this is the content that people want from me. And then the other thing that I started to get was that I started getting people leaving comments, asking questions, asking, Miss Denise, can you explain this? Miss Denise, can you explain that? Then I thought, when did I get that old? And then I realized, okay, I've crossed that threshold where now I'm considered an elder with wisdom, so to speak. And in the African American community, it's a certain status. And I thought, okay, so not only do they want to hear this message, they need to hear this message from me. So that's where I'm at.
I like this. So I kind of heard you say, start on YouTube, and it's okay to try some things, but then make sure you listen to comments because maybe some things nobody really responds to, other videos really resonate, and you want to pay attention to that. Then also listen to the questions, and then also watch for patterns in the videos that do well, and then you're dialing in your channel over time. So how would you say from starting in 2017, 2018, how long it took to maybe get a little bit clearer? Because you're giving us this great advice right now, saving us time and pain and getting us to the goal quicker for anybody listening to this. But you still went through a process yourself. That's maybe you don't know your niche from day one. So you're experimenting at first, but then you are willing to sort of maybe throw away the topics that don't work as well and then dial into the ones that do and sort of figure out your niche. How many years did that take?
That probably took me about maybe 3, maybe 4 years, because when I first got started, especially as I started to really figure out this YouTube thing, there were so many things that I wanted to do and so many things that I wanted to talk about. So I called my channel This and That with Denise Jordan, so I could talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I realized, though, that the more things that I talked about, I won't say the fewer views that I got, but I was still getting comments about certain things. And I realized that what was sticking, what they wanted to hear about, was they wanted to hear about things related to the home. And those were things that I knew about because I made and kept a home for more than 50 years. So it was an expertise that I had to share.
This is a huge epiphany. And on the one hand, listeners might be like, whoa, that's a long time to commit to something. But I think it's also encouraging that if we don't find our voice or we don't narrow our niche or really dial in our thing for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, that's okay. And that also just might be what it takes to reach success. It's part of the process. I mean, you have 88,000 subscribers. You've earned thousands of dollars from YouTube. And I'm excited later in the episode to even be talking about the different ways you've monetized and, the income you've created. But it speaks to also the work you've done. You put in hustle, diligence, persistence, and patience and in the early days that eventually kind of got you to a rebrand of your channel, changing it from This and That, which is sort of this general name, to the specialty of homemaking. And it makes me think of the quote, it's better to be a meaningful specific than a wandering generality. And there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that are wandering generalities. But when you kind of cut through the noise being a meaningful specific, even if it takes time to figure that out, there's something so powerful about that. Before we go to number 3, are there any other thoughts on this idea of niche down?
Well, the other thing, too, is that you have to run your own race. So when I was looking at other people doing other things, and I want to try some of that, and I want to try some of this, I realized that wasn't my race to run. And when I was niche down and doing the things that I enjoyed, but also people were asking for, my channel really began to improve.
I fall into the same trap of sometimes I'm a creative person, I have a lot of creative ideas, and I watch other channels, and then you maybe get inspired, and then you start doing, you want to do what somebody else is doing, or you're like, oh, I want to do that too, or you incorporate that, which if the inspiration is good and fits for you, then that's great. But also run your own race. Such a great piece of advice. Like, kind of know what your lane is and stay in your lane. Okay, so we've covered number one, believe in yourself. Number two, niche down and narrow down your channel, even if it takes time. Number three, invest in yourself, skills, how to present on camera. Expand on why this is important.
Well, especially if you're over 60, there may be some skill sets in regards to tech that you don't have, depending upon what your professional career area is. And so for myself, when I began to investigate video, we were starting to use video more at the university. Well, I didn't know how to create videos, so I would go over to what we called Studio M, which I realized probably stood for Studio Media, and learn how to create video there. And I would go every day. Sometimes I'd go, a couple times a day, depending upon what time I had available, and I was trying to create this small piece maybe for class. And then I would practice whatever I learned in the studio for class over the weekend and practice that for YouTube. So I invested in learning how to create video. And I will tell you, Sean, I think that sometimes when I would walk in the door, they would be like, oh God, she's back. It's like, because I didn't know, but I learned. And I learned on Adobe Premiere, which is probably one of the ones with the steepest learning curve, but that's the software that the university had. That's what they taught. So that's what I had to learn on. And it worked out well for me. I can create video, I can edit. So I invested in myself in that way. The other thing was I bought a course called VRA to help me also learn some of the ways to not only create videos, but kind of how to put things together. What are some of the things that I need to do other than just throw a video on the platform? So I invested in myself to learn how to do some of those things. So I would encourage someone that is just learning this skill set, because YouTube is no joke, to learn the process, learn the ins and outs, because YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they're all different. And you have to learn what works for each platform.
Man, that's great advice. And it's inspiring, because sometimes there's even stats that speak to once somebody leaves high school, they stop learning, kind of. They stop reading, they stop learning, they stop expanding. But it's so inspiring to hear about how you continue to invest in yourself and skills, and necessary with something like YouTube, which a couple resources for listeners. This is our Think Media podcast channel where we're recording this episode. But on our main channel, Think Media, we have all kinds of free videos that will help you learn video editing. Adobe Premiere, as Denise mentioned, is actually, that's a tough one to jump straight into. But also, it's a good one. You could, if you can get your hands on a Macintosh or something, you might use something like iMovie, which is included, or Final Cut 10. But we'll link up some resources in the show notes of this episode that you can study for getting cameras, editing, all of that stuff on the main channel. And then the course that Denise is referencing is our main program called Video Ranking Academy, which is just our comprehensive YouTube course. So if you're interested in that and you want to learn a little bit more, we'll link that up in the show notes as well. Or you can go to vrapodcast.com and you could check out more about that. So you talked about, number one, believe in yourself. Number two, niche down. Number three, invest in yourself. And then number four, be okay with criticism. Expand on this.
Well, you are going to definitely get criticism when you put yourself out there as a public platform, and everyone is not going to like what you do, especially when you're first getting started. And I think about that mac and cheese video that I did. That did very, very, very well. But I got some of the nastiest comments on that video. And one of them had to do with, oh, she didn't taste it, so it was probably runny. It probably didn't turn out well. Well, I didn't know that you were expected to taste it before you left the video. And I was actually having people coming over for dinner, so I didn't want to hold out the middle of it. Well, you better believe I don't make that mistake again. But it was kind of hurtful to hear some of those comments. So you have to grow kind of a thick skin. And I think the other thing in regards to criticism is that you just have to take it with a grain of salt. Like for some of it, it is well meant. They'll leave nice comment, and some people come on YouTube or other platforms, and because it's anonymous, they can leave negative comments. And so you just have to be prepared to deal with it and decide how you want to deal with that. I don't mind criticism, but if people are just being nasty, I just delete them because I don't want negative vibes on my channel. We can talk about something we disagree on, but if you're just trying to be a troll, I'm just going to delete it because I don't want to have to deal with that. There's enough other things we can talk about.
That's a great ethic. And I think a few things to unpack is there is the ability to filter comments. So you can, if you're starting to get certain words or things that people are talking about in the back end of YouTube, you can identify some of those words so those comments actually get held sort of in this spam category. You also can select the level of filtering and how aggressive the filtering is. That will also move comments into that spam category as opposed to letting them be auto posted. You also can turn off comments altogether. Not something I recommend because I think YouTube is a community platform. But I also, before I go a little bit deeper into this, I want to ask you, what about the positive though? Because I think this is so true, and listeners should prepare to have thick skin. But also, what about the positive and the impact that you've made on YouTube and the feedback you've heard?
Well, one of the things that probably the most positive comment that I get is that I have taught them how to do something, how to improve something in their home, something that they didn't know how to do. And it really makes me feel good that I've made a positive impact on someone's life. They didn't know how to clean a particular area in their home. Now they do, or they just have more confidence to try things. I enjoy that. And so I think that's definitely something that's positive. And then the other thing is the comments that people leave inspire me. Like, okay, so then maybe I need to do another video on a similar topic, and I can talk about this, or I can talk about that. And then one of the other things that I do is answer specific questions, because people will leave questions and then I can answer those. I do a lot of those in my Laundry Lab shorts, where I will answer a question that someone asks. So that's a positive way, not only for me to grow my channel, increase my content, but also to be of service.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I would love listeners to just get a vision for this as well. While you certainly got some nasty comments, even 88,000 people have clicked the subscribe button, which speaks to people that, you know, are affectionate or fans or want to continue to hear from you. And you've gotten 7.2 million views over that. So if you're going to have that much reach, I know personally, I'm a small town kid. You know, I grew up in Arlington, Washington, an hour north of Seattle. I think the current population, I mean, in my mind, I think it's got to be bigger than this, but it's like less than 20,000 people is what it says online on like Wikipedia. And so I think this whole YouTube thing is fascinating. Just exposure to over 7 million people that have viewed your content. Of course, some of them are going to maybe not be the kindest, or have had a bad day, or sometimes I think when people, they'll say things on the internet they would never say to your face, but just because there's sort of a depersonalization. Well, I love your advice that we just need to be prepared for it. And, you know, for listeners that might think, well, oh man, I might get some negative feedback. Well, for sure you will, but also think about the positive impact. And I really percentagely, I can't think it's not that high. I mean, you've gotten 7 million views. You've impacted a lot of people, and a lot of people just don't say anything. They take the information, you never hear from them, but you're making an impact in their lives, even though they might not be saying it. Any final thoughts on this point?
Well, here's the other thing too, especially for a couple of negative comments that I got. I would just say, you know, I appreciate your frame of reference. I'd be interested in looking at your video where you're showing me how to do this better. And don't hear anything else.
Calling them out, because typically the armchair quarterback that's got opinions on how the professional sports team is playing the game is not necessarily in the game themselves. Chances are they are not. And so that is I like that response. And so, okay, Well, these are great quick tips. I want to unpack your journey a little bit more. And I'm actually kind of curious, specifically your background as a nursing professor. You mentioned a little bit about getting into video even in your career there, but maybe your career in general. Like, what are some of the things that from your background in general that prepared you for the skill sets needed to create content?
Mouth watering? For sure. It's Hillshire.
Want to take the next step with Entivio? Then it's time to talk to your healthcare provider. With Entivio, you may be able to pay as little as $5 per dose. Plus, our team can help connect you with additional support programs. Entivio.
With Southwest Rapid Rewards, if we have a seat, you have a seat. So you can redeem your points for this seat or that seat. Oh, this one's open. Use your Rapid Rewards points on any seat, any day, anytime.
Get more customers and grow revenue with SlickText, the leader in SMS marketing. Build your list with our subscriber growth tools. Send targeted personalized texts or connect one-on-one. Create customized.
One of the things that really helped me was I taught at the university level. So you had to, you're doing adult education. It's not high school. These are adults. Sometimes you wonder if they're still in high school, but these are adults. And then you learn how to present information in a logical manner. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, or you learn how to be succinct. But it just prepared me to be able to, not only that, but research, because you have to do research to prepare lectures and different things like that, or maybe you're working on different projects for your university or for class. So I learned how to research different things as well. So that was something that was helpful. And then, of course, learning to use video. And learning to use video was really important because you can talk about something, but when you can actually show it on video, it makes such a huge impact.
So expand on what you mean there. In your videos, it's you maybe in your kitchen presenting information. You've researched ahead of time, structured the information. You're delivering that content, but then when you say show it, it's not just you talking. What you'll do is you'll edit in clips that are demonstrating what you're talking about. Explain that process and how you do that.
So, for example, let's say we'll go back to the mac and cheese video. I'm making mac and cheese. So I'll maybe be throwing up whatever the ingredients are on the screen, but I will run around the kitchen and I will rearrange my camera and I will point it down so that as I'm pouring the macaroni into the pot, you see the boiling water. If I'm adding the milk and the eggs into the bowl, I've rearranged the camera now and I'm pouring it down so you can actually see that. Probably one of the ones that I really got a lot of thank yous for that was when I did one of my Thanksgiving marathon videos, and I rearrange the camera so many different times so that when I'm actually mixing up the dressing, you can see the down into the bowl and you can see the texture that I was trying to get. And then I was able to pour it into the bowl. And then I showed me pouring whatever broth or whatever on top. So I bring it in close enough that they can actually see what I'm doing. So rather than just saying, okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to add this, you're going to add that while I'm talking about it. And it could be a voiceover, it might not. I'm actually showing them how to do it. My latest video was how to load a dishwasher. Something very simple, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. And so I've rearranged the camera different times. You could actually see me putting the plates on the rack, how not to nest the spoons, so that they're like, oh, when they say, don't nest the spoons, that's what that means. Or in so many recipes, it'll say season to taste. And so what I will show is I'm sprinkling in the seasoning, then I will take a fork or a spoon and I will taste it. And then I might add some more. Oh, that's what it means, season to taste. It means season to my taste. Simple things like that.
That's awesome. And so I want to encourage, you broke down, it speaks to you being a master of this. It's a skill you've developed, but everything is figure outable too. It could be overwhelming filming and thinking about all the clips. And then if you edit a video, I know I've been here lots of times. I forgot to shoot a few clips and I'm like, oh man. And those quote unquote micro failures are the stepping stones to success.
Yes.
You just learn in the process. And this is going to be a staggering number for listeners. but did you know that you've uploaded 1,284 videos?
No, I did not.
That is, I mean, that's been over about 7 years, but that's a ton of videos, which I think is an important number. It just speaks to, you could expound on this, but you love doing this. It's something you enjoy. You get to express your creativity. You're having fun. Doesn't probably mean it's not without stress or pressure, but you get to do something that's, really cool. What do you think about in terms of the process of putting in the reps, consistency, year over year, building up your skills, especially from the mindset of hearing a number like that? It's like, man, 1,000 videos. How could I compete with that? Well, we all got to start at zero. So speak to that process of how you got into this and kind of developed your content creation muscles.
And well, that's pretty much how I did that, was being consistent. Video every day in April, video every day in August, jumping in on various challenges. Maybe there was a challenge for Mother's Day and, honor your mother, and everybody's doing different videos about that. It gives you a way of just, okay, I've got to be creative. I got to make a video about this. What do I do? So you've got to create your concept. And then once you've got your concept developed, then you have to figure out how you're going to shoot it. And then you need to edit it. And how long or how short do you want it to be? And those are things you have to think about. And when you first get started, you might repeat that opening phrase, or you might do something in the video several times that you end up cutting out half the video. But again, it's just a repetition that helps you become more comfortable with it. And when you are learning something new, it's like you're back to square one on whatever that new thing is, but you're bringing those old things along with it.
Yeah, it seems like I did a little bit of math, and it's about 183 videos a year that you've posted. If we base it on 8 years, then you're almost posting like a video like every other day. And this would also speak, I wonder if that's also, do you do YouTube Shorts?
I do YouTube Shorts, and I do YouTube Shorts because they're fun, because they're short. And, I do a lot of them for my laundry lab. But I do YouTube Shorts. And I do YouTube Shorts because I want to attract more subscribers. It's a particular audience that I'm trying to get. So that younger demographics, those are the ones watching a lot of my shorts. Now, my regular subscribers will watch them as well, but I really attract a lot of the younger homemakers with those, my college students, my young men, my people who are just starting out and they need to learn how to do something. Those are the ones watching my shorts.
So I'm actually learning right now, when you go to the About page on someone's channel, which I did for you, shorts are not included in that number, but live streams are included. And you've also done some live streams. What have you done there?
For live streams, I have a bi-weekly show that I do every other Wednesday, and it is called Homemaking with Purpose. And I just present different information, interviews, tips, and things like that related to homemaking. And as a matter of fact, me and another creator will collaborate. And one week we're on her channel, the other week we're on my channel. And it's just a lot of fun. Now, live streams do make money, but the real monetization comes from long form video because, shorts, they're fun, but you really don't make a lot of money with shorts. But what I do get with shorts is more subscribers, and also my know, like, and trust factor grows with shorts as well as with my live streams. Because on the live streams, if they have a question, they can ask. And either I can answer it right then and there, or I can't. So I do the live streams to build community, and they just get to know you better. And people will come every week just to listen to, whatever it is that you have to talk about that particular week. On the shorts, they come, if I'm talking about how to wash a baseball cap, I've done a couple of videos on that. I get a lot of, there's a lot of men that need to learn how to wash their baseball caps, or their partners want to figure out how to wash their baseball caps. So I can give information very quickly in that manner.
Yes, so I'm super inspired. And actually, as I've done some math over here, I think you deserve the Think Media Award for consistency. Because if we actually base it since 2017, assuming you started in January, which maybe not even that early, but it roughly comes out until March 2025 when recording this, you've posted about 156 videos a year. That's 3 videos per week. This does not count shorts. It includes the live streams though. And your bi-weekly show is certainly helped with that level of consistency. And this is actually ChatGPT talking. It says, which is very consistent and impressive over time. And so I have seen so many individuals that start, stop, and of course, I want listeners to hear it's your race, your pace. You don't have to imitate what Denise is doing, what Think Media is doing, what anybody else is doing. You want to find out your own rhythm. But there is something to be said about the power of consistency and the compound effect of the lessons you learn, of the views you get, of the audience you build by doing this over time. 3 videos a week for 8 years. I want you to just really, I don't know if you've reflected on this much, but I just want to, acknowledge you and affirm it speaks to your character. It speaks to, I think, your vision, your resilience. And so it's just very impressive. And I think everybody listening to this could just be inspired to be like, I could be a little bit more consistent and disciplined, because it's a monumental feat that you've achieved. And the results that you've gotten were not by accident. They have happened because of your consistency.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, okay, we learned some lessons from what you learned as a nursing professor, how to present info, how to do research, learning how to use video, learning how you structure videos, edit clips in, and we've discovered that everything is figure outable. If we go back a little bit to, you're starting YouTube in your 60s. What doubts did you have about starting YouTube at age 64?
When I initially started YouTube, I started with a makeup channel. Makeup on Aisle 64 was my channel, and I was excited about learning to use makeup for women of my age. So I didn't have a lot of doubts about that, other than I had to learn about makeup because I didn't know a lot about all the different kinds. But when I pivoted to this and that with Denise, and I started doing a lot of other things, I realized I was moving into an area of some things that I didn't know very much about. So I began to think, am I too old to be doing this? Because then I had to really learn a lot of new skill sets. So when I was doing a lot of those DIY videos, I didn't know sick'em about DIY because I didn't do any DIY. My husband, anything that required nails, paint, screws, my husband did all of that. I didn't do anything like that. But in the DIY videos, I had to do some of that. So I had doubts about my ability to be able to do that and make it look authentic on video. So there was that. And then as I began to talk about other things, I thought, well, gosh, I'm not a young woman anymore. I'm definitely a woman of a certain age. They may not want to hear what I've got to say. And I had doubts about that. And I think those are the challenges, I think, as an older content creator, is because whereas there's things you have to offer, you ask yourself, well, is there anyone out there who really wants to hear it? So I had about that.
Yeah, those are really, am I too old? Can I learn these new skill sets? Will people want to hear what I have to say? Is there anyone out there that will listen? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure listeners can resonate with those, and it can feel impossible, yet now you have 88,000 subscribers on the other side of those doubts. How does that feel, the transition between starting with some of those doubts and where you are today?
It feels really, really good. Now, I've got 88,000 subscribers, but I'm working to get my silver play button. I want to get that 100,000 subscribers. However, I have to remind myself, you know what? The number of YouTube creators who get to 5,000 subscribers in a 5 or 10 year period, who get to 10,000, who even get to 50,000, the number of people that get to those milestones, it's not as great as one would think. And so I have to tell myself, you have really done something pretty darn good. And it's real easy to kind of negate things that you do it because you've done it. But it's like, okay, I did something pretty darn good. I have 88,000 subscribers. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a huge milestone to get 1,000 subscribers, to get 5,000 subscribers. to get 10,000, and then 100,000 when you get a silver play button is a wild feat. And I know we talked about this the other day in our coaching program that you're a part of, where it's like, absolutely, you're going to get there too. You're at 88,000, you're going to get to 100,000. And sometimes we look at how far we have to go, but we forget how far we've come.
Right.
88,000 subscribers is like just astronomical. It's just like crazy to imagine, the world we're living in. And just so inspiring to see what is possible with YouTube, which I do want to hear about monetization. Eventually, you reach a milestone. Today's requirements are you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time within the past 12 months. And it's like always a rolling, like that 4,000 hours of watch time has to all be contained within a year's time. And then you get a chance to apply for the YouTube Partner Program, and YouTube starts paying you for views. Do you remember when you got monetized and what that moment was like?
I'm thinking I had been having my channel probably about 6 to 8 months. I think it's been a while, but I think it was about 6 to 8 months. But when I got that first YouTube check, it was like, wow. I was so excited that I was not only monetized, and then I actually got a YouTube payment deposited into my bank account. That was just really kind of cool because, again, so many people strive for that goal and don't reach it. So I was really excited that I had made that first milestone in that regard.
Did I hear you 6 to 8 months?
I think it was 6 to 8 months. It could have been a year, but I really don't remember. But it didn't take more than a year to get monetized. Because, like I said, I put up a lot of videos, especially in that first year. So I was building the watch time. So getting the 4,000 hours of watch time really wasn't that difficult.
Yeah, it's a great, your consistency certainly helped. A year is very impressive. 6 to 8 months is even more impressive, but it also speaks to how possible this is. And I also, for those that want to learn more about this monetization aspect, there's actually, in today's world, 2025 and beyond, there's at least 6 ways to monetize directly on YouTube and 14 plus ways to earn money with YouTube. And I just updated our free class if anybody's interested. That's at Think Masterclass. I'll link that up in the show notes. And it goes into a lot of things about how to get views, how to start, but specifically the monetization side. I am curious, when did that light bulb moment click for you that YouTube could be something you're actually successful at, or that actually also provides money in retirement or things like that?
Probably when I made my first $500 on YouTube. Because it was just like, oh, I made $500 this month. This is $500 extra dollars, not $500 that I had to roll into the budget, but $500 extra dollars. You can do quite a bit with $500 extra dollars that you don't have to budget somewhere else. So it was like, man, there could be something, magical here. You just have to keep pressing on with it. So I was really excited about that.
So paint a picture for me. One, your financial situation, because you're doing YouTube, you're not depending on it to pay your bills. You're starting it as a side thing. And so if somebody especially is thinking 60s, 70s, maybe they have pension, they maybe have some financial stability. They're looking for a creative outlet, but also maybe they might have financial stability, but not much extra. So what has been your experience in terms of how you looked at YouTube? How long did it take to get to a place where you're earning $500 extra dollars? What kind of money did you invest in cameras or editing, or also the expenses to kind of build a YouTube business? And what was your mindset going into this in terms of your family's financial situation and this being extra dollars and the kind of maybe lifestyle that this has helped expand your lifestyle or your ability to take care of other family members, or however you guys, invest the money?
Well, like you said earlier, I don't use this money to run our house. We don't use it for that. So I just use it for extra stuff. So when I needed to buy a new camera, I bought the Canon M50, I think was the one you were talking about at the time. So I bought that. I burned through 2 of those. And then I ended up buying another Canon, something or another you guys had talked about. So I use it to buy equipment. And that's what's really helpful there when I, helps pay for my Adobe Premiere software, my vidIQ and different little things like that. So as I add new programs or different things like that, I find that the money is helpful for that.
When did you earn the extra $500? Do you remember like a roughly what time when that you're like, whoa, like this is some, extra, and you're saying it wasn't that was beyond the expenses. That was beyond covering the YouTube bills. As small as they may be, it's a YouTube business. Your camera, software.
When did I earn that? Probably after my mac and cheese video hit.
Okay.
Because that video, I was like, whoa, what? And it kept growing and growing and growing. And it was close to Thanksgiving, too. And so that's like my sweet spot, close to the Thanksgiving and then the Christmas holiday. And not only did I get $500 extra, then it was like $750, and then it was $1,000. And I'm like, whoa, it's pretty darn good. So those... that holiday time period is a great time for me because people are looking for my holiday meal videos in that regard.
Yeah, so this was November 19th, 2018. You uploaded a video, best macaroni and cheese recipe, Thanksgiving side dishes. That video went on to get 862,000 views, which to your point, if a video gets 1 million views with a $2 to $5 CPM, which is kind of low actually, but kind of average on YouTube, then that means 1 million views on YouTube will pay you anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. And so that video earned you thousands of dollars probably because your CPM was, probably higher than that. And so that started 500 one month, 700 the next, like money's still coming in. And then like any other creator, we wish that every day we could post a video that gets 800,000 views. Yeah. But sometimes you get a breakout video and sometimes you're kind of back to just the consistency and the discipline. But then, the final question I kind of had about this area was maybe the mindset of you and your family in regards to what YouTube means to you. A chance to make extra money, a chance to express your creativity. What's kind of the mix of your motivation behind doing it? Do you feel like your time that you've invested in it has given you what you hoped?
Oh, definitely. One of the reasons why I do YouTube is because I have to have something to do. I can't just sit on the sofa and watch soap operas all day. I'm a person that likes to do things, and YouTube allows me that creativity. It allows me that output, and I can do it from home. Every day I can find something to do with YouTube. And if I choose not to do anything today, I cannot do anything. So it really helps with that. It gives me a purpose, is what I should say. And my purpose is to be of service to homemakers, to help them learn how to make and keep a home. So YouTube allows me to do that. As far as my family, my husband is just glad I have something to do because then I'm not bugging him all the time.
Man, I love it. And it's so cool to hear about the results that have happened. Okay, so a couple things that I want to recap, and I also wrote down some steps. If anybody wants to start a channel, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, I feel like step 0, because I wrote down a few steps, and you can correct me here, Denise, on what you've learned. Because step 1's find your niche, but I think we should go first to step 0. Sometimes experiment. Start before you're ready. And you started with makeup, then you went to this and that with Denise Jordan, and then you went to homemaking. So it's okay to evolve. Don't overthink things at the start. That was definitely your journey, but eventually find your niche. And that was an earlier tip. You narrowed down from makeup, from just general things down to homemaking, and it really resonated and helped you grow. And step 2 is create content that resonated. I want to go a little bit deeper into this. You've mentioned that certain videos have broke out, like your mac and cheese video, but even recently you did a $30 Snap Challenge video, and it did incredibly well.
Yes.
What does Snap stand for? What was the topic of this video, and what did you learn in that video breaking out?
Sean, that one video made me $4,000. I could not believe it. I was like, what? And not only did it make me $4,000, it made it in like less than 2 months.
Wow.
My mac and cheese video grew. But here's the thing. SNAP, first of all, stands for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or food stamps is the common name for it. And the premise for that video was I had been talking to a friend who said her food stamps got cut to $30. And I said, oh, okay, well, then you should do this and this and this and this. And she's like, well, it's not that easy. And I said to myself, I'm just going to see. Well, I did see. And what I realized is that she was right. It was not as easy as I thought. I was quite smug when I decided I was going to do this, but I had a completely different idea once I finished it. But what I learned from that video is that, first of all, it could be polarizing. It was not, but there were some of the negative comments that did pop up, and that's when I really had to employ blocked words. But what I realized is that there were a lot of people out there who used these kind of benefits who needed to learn how to eat or purchase groceries differently. So that was one of the biggest things that I learned. The other thing that I learned was that, and not that I was being judgmental, but sometimes we can be a little judgy inadvertently. And I realized that some of the things that I had been thinking about how to use benefits or that kind of thing weren't necessarily as easy as I thought. And that maybe the preconceived ideas that I might have had were not necessarily so. So I made that video, and then I decided, okay, let me try another $30 video, following up on that one, and it was close to Thanksgiving. And so I made another $30 challenge video, but buying Thanksgiving dinner. Now that was a real challenge to be able to buy Thanksgiving dinner for $30. But at this particular time, Kroger, Walmart, and Aldi, they were all kind of like battling each other about, the cheapest Thanksgiving dinner. And I was able to do this at Aldi, but when you get it that low, you're using a lot of processed foods. You're using boxed mac and cheese. You're using a boxed dressing and that kind of thing. And I got a lot of negative comments about that. But financially, if that's where you are, that's where you are. So that was the other thing that I learned, is that there's a lot of people that are, low-income homemaking or low-income food budgets, that they buy a lot of boxed and processed foods because that's where they are. So one of the things that I learned that I could do is I can teach them how to begin to buy some things a little bit differently so that I can be of service to them in a different way.
And so essentially, I love that the idea, there's some juicy insights here. You listened and you heard a friend give you an idea of what, YouTube is being accessed by the world. And so if you create content that resonates, you can have a video that earns you $4,000 quick. And it's because you were listening. And then it was interesting, though, you had some preconceived notions, because sometimes we think, okay, like the first idea is we're going to run out the video with a certain approach, but then you essentially became an experiment yourself. You challenged yourself to spend $30, and then you realized, oh, wait a minute, it is tough. Is that how that happened? And then it shifted what the final video became.
So I challenged myself to go to the grocery store with $30 to spend. Now, I didn't actually have a Snap card, but in my mind, I had these $30.
Yeah.
So I went on a grocery cart app, figured out what I wanted to buy, and I had already had my plan, figured out what I could buy there at the store, and then I actually purchased the food. Well, not knowing much about SNAP benefits, one of the things that I bought was a rotisserie chicken. Well, I cannot tell you how many comments I got from people saying, you can't buy hot prepared foods on SNAP benefits. Didn't know that. But you can if they put that rotisserie chicken in the deli because it's a day or two old and they mark it down from $8 to $4.50. Well, then you can. But I bought the rotisserie chicken and I had to figure out how am I going to make this $30 last for a month on, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Where I realized real quick, there's not going to be any breakfasts. There may be some lunches and there'll be some dinners. Some of the food is going to be repeated, that kind of thing. And it's not going to be healthy and it's not going to be sustainable. Those were the lessons that I learned.
Okay, so I want to summarize some things because there were some juicy insights from the types of videos you created. And the big idea here is creating content that resonates. And so this happened because you were talking to a friend and you had an idea about a real pain point, a real challenge an individual was experiencing. Then you also had some preconceived ideas where they were saying, no, this is a big challenge. You're like, oh, it can't be that bad. But what you did was you put yourself into a challenge. You challenged yourself to go to the grocery store and try to see if you could spend $30 to create meals for a month. This is a great format for listeners. Anybody on your channel, what could you be the guinea pig of, the experiment of? Challenge yourself to do, give yourself some constraints, and then turn that into content. This video for you earned $4,000, and it speaks to the power of a great idea. And then also, I think, broad appeal, like video topics that could resonate. Budget-friendly content works in today's economy. There's going to be more people that maybe resonate with this particular title. So there's a lot of powerful insights that we could apply to the next video we post on our channel, or even creating better content as we start out. Well, we've covered a lot today. I do kind of want to land the plane, but some of these big sections, I think step 0 is start before you're ready. There's something about starting, you're experimenting at first. Then step 1 is finding your niche. It's nice to know your niche at the start, but it's not necessarily that clean. You might experiment almost before you started and invest in your learning. Like you said, if you're 60 plus, you're learning new skills. It's almost like giving yourself months or even a couple years to study, to learn, to experiment, then to narrow down your channel topic. Then step 2, creating content that resonates. Then step 3, starting to build a community, which you have done, and then to start monetizing. I want to land the plane with this kind of idea of monetization strategies and then overcoming some mindsets that we haven't covered before. So I am curious, you've mentioned a few videos, mac and cheese video, the SNAP benefits video. They've earned you thousands of dollars. And so YouTube ad revenue itself, getting paid for views, is one of the ways you earn money. But if you were to think about the different income streams you've done over the years, what are the ways you've earned money from your YouTube channel?
Well, one of the other things that I did is I created an apron business called Apron Diva. And so that was something that came out of my YouTube channel because I would wear aprons on my videos and people would ask where I got them. So I thought, well, I might as well, let them get them from me. So I created Apron Diva, my own business. That was another income stream for me. The other thing is I've had some brand deals, and that's another income stream. And then affiliate links. I haven't done a lot with affiliate links, but because I would rather do the brand deal than the affiliate link, but I'm kind of rethinking some of that now. And now I'm working on creating I'm created a course, and I've done the beta run through, but I'm going to run through it again in September. So I'm going to roll it out again then in September. And then I'm working on a digital product that is almost done. And then I'm also going to have a challenge, a laundry challenge that I'm going to do after I get the digital product done. And these are things that I'm working on now. And I will say, even though you didn't ask this, I wish I had done these things sooner. And even though you talked about it and you said to do these things, and I listen to you say do it, I didn't hear you when you said it. Well, I hear you now, and I wish I had created my digital products so much sooner and created my course so much sooner. But one of the things that I did do that I learned I do not like was consulting. I did some one-to-one consulting, and I thought, okay, I don't like this because it really requires too much time and it's very intense. So that one I did try, but I decided I didn't care for that particular stream. But the other ones, I just wish I had done sooner.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
New Halo Top with delicious mix-ins in every bite, but half the calories.
What's so funny?
Bro!
And there's a goat. You made a goat. You made a goat.
I've used ABC Legal numerous times. They've never let me down. Their fees are more than reasonable, and they always provide the fastest service. Having used several other process servers, with disappointment every time, finding ABC Legal solved all my service problems. ABC Legal, you rock. Learn more at abclegal.com/start.
I want to clarify some things. You mentioned 7 different ways of earning money, and we don't have time to go into all of these.